I think that, to get your team to buy in, the first thing you have to understand is like, what does the team think when you come in?
Will it work 80% of the time? Will it take 80% of that off of your plate?
All right. So now we're on to probably the juiciest podcast on our series, like the one that's just everyone's probably been sitting, waiting, like refreshing their podcast service.
Biting their nails.
Yeah. When does this drop? When does this drop? So the answer is it drops now.
Here it is.
Here it is. The second answer is we would like to talk about how to get your team to buy in. I want to say this because I think we face the same challenges sometimes when we come into agencies as virtual assistants have. The first step is very honest, open, clear, transparent communication. And this is why in the last podcast, I left with don't ask your team what they think, because if you ask and they say, I don't like it, and then you do it, you automatically have whatever percentage of the team not really excited from day one because they feel like you didn't hear them.
I've been in agencies and worked with agents where people were like, well, if we're not hiring in the US, then I'm not working here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I absolutely understand your concern and your passion. However, can you find me somebody that shows up to work on time every day, like clockwork, and their building goes through an earthquake and they're asking you if they might be able to leave an hour early because they're being evacuated? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, or would they just ditch you and not even let you know they left for the day? And they're like, well, what do you mean? So I think it's helping the team see the vision and the value, but I think it's also helping them understand that it is a little bit culturally different. And that's to the benefit of everyone.
I also want to say too, when you think about how to get your team to buy in, there's a lot of agencies don't have what I would call a necessary, it's essential. It's the hierarchy, right? Somebody's in charge, right? And I think everyone's like, well, we'd like it to be everyone contributing, but that it never works that way, right? Imagine in your household, you've got 3 kids and 2 parents. You're like, well, we all make joint decisions. It's no, I can analyze your feedback, but sometimes mom and dad have to make a decision that, that isn't liked. And I think that, to get your team to buy in, the first thing you have to understand is what does the team think when you come in? So in a culture that's not thriving, and it could be because maybe we're burned out and we're overwhelmed, there's a couple of things team thinks, right? 1, I'm being replaced. 2, I'm going to have to sell more now, and I would rather change vehicles or do mortgage changes. 3, who's going to train this person? They spiral. Who's going to train them? They're not going to have carrier. This one carrier won't give them access. Right? 4, well, they probably won't work our hours. Untrue. 5, what about the language barrier? Also untrue in most locations. And so what ends up happening is we almost talk ourselves out of it before we talk ourselves into it. So you need to understand what they're going to hear. And you also need to understand that we've all had a bad outsourcing experience somewhere in our lives. Maybe not at work, but just personally, where you're is there anybody available to help me that speaks?
No.
Yeah. So a lot of times what I like to do is a couple things to help people get buy-in. 1, I'm a big believer, don't just have a meeting. And please, whatever you do, if it's about working with us or it's about a VA, do not just put a Teams message out. Do not send an email. Okay? This is a bad sitch that happens frequently. Okay? I think I heard something on Teams. We're getting someone from the Philippines to work with us. What? You need to have a party and maybe put it towards a quarterly meeting. Say we've been researching it, maybe ask for testimonials, maybe even have the person on so you can see that they are a normal human being, just happens to be in a different country. But you have to be available and know that even still a lot of people will be a little bit suspect. So I also like to identify hey, we're going to run a beta test. It's going to work with a small group of people, get the process down, and then you'll learn more. So you're not putting one VA with 20 people coming at them all at once too. And nobody knows what to do. Here's the other thing. If your agency does announce you're getting a VA, I want you to stop closing your mind and open it. Second of all, when you do finally send them some work, maybe begrudgingly, I would also like you not to send them the quote that is a log cabin with a pit bull and a trampoline and like a zip line in the back and say, oh, see if you can market this. Because nobody can market that. And you're like, literally, like, look, they couldn't do it. Yeah, I know. I know.
Nor could you.
Nor
Nor
could
could
you.
you.
Nor could you. That's why you sent it. So you have to like set it up to be in favor. But once people stop and realize like what are the downsides? Like Stephen, can you think of any downsides of a VA?
They like to follow directions and color inside the line most of the time. So if something's broken or they don't know the answer, they might freeze and have to ask for help
In
to make sure it's done correctly.
a very polite fashion.
Right.
Very, very polite, right?
So, I mean, this is where I tend to get myself in trouble because it took me a long time to learn how to manage VAs or understand their mindset. And their mindset is, I want to do a perfect job. I don't want to get in trouble for coloring outside the line in general. So when the process isn't working or they get stuck, they kind of panic and they're like, oh no, oh no. And I would share screens and be like, well, the box moved from this side of the screen to this side of the screen. And they're like, but that's not what our process says. I'm like, great, can you update the process? They're like, you will allow me to update the process? And I'm like, yes, please.
You are empowered.
And they almost take it like a reward because we're honoring their skill. And I love to say, if you want something done the same way every time, if you want to make sure that all the boxes are checked, if you want the audits for new business to be the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen, create a process and have a VA do it.
Yeah.
Because they are going to check the boxes. They are going to follow the process. They're going to follow up on whatever's missing. And then they'll raise their hand and say, I've reached out 3 times. I couldn't get it. What do you want me to do next?
Help me, help you.
Otherwise, it's just gorgeous and done every time.
Yeah. I think the other downside is, I mean, I'll be upfront. I would love to hire Americans but Americans in entry-level jobs don't seem to go very well together these days.
No.
And the cost of a US team member is very different, and for me, I love the fact that I don't have to manage. Like, yes, we manage them. They have one-on-ones. They have a manager. Like, they have job description. They have all the things and that's a great point, actually, I should say. Our VA team has all of the same things our US team has. They have an incentive plan. They have a manager. They have a review. They have one-on-ones. There's zero difference between us and them.
Correct.
Now the like bonus amount might be different just based on conversion ratios and things like that. But I can't think of one thing that is different between the US and our team overseas.
No, we all have clear job descriptions. We all know what a good job looks like. We have metrics we're tracked on.
Meetings. I think maybe the only thing is in the US we have 3 screens, but they can't fit 3 screens on their desk. But they even work hybrid. We let them, so there's no difference. What I would say is, like, if I could, I would sponsor all of these people to come live in the US.
Yeah.
Have like the APP boarding house.
That would be amazing.
I know. Wouldn't it be? Have like the real world.
The real world with VA.
With VAs, yeah.
So I think if we're looking at some of the struggles of the team buy-in and trying to get over some of their biases, I also like to have the rule of 80%. Will it work 80% of the time? Will it take 80% of that off of your plate?
Yeah.
Because we're always going to have the one where it's like that one carrier we still have 2 policies with that nobody can remember how to log into, that we have to go once a year and find a report in.
Where the customers might actually be dead. We're not sure.
Yeah. And that not even most of the US team can figure it out. The VA will be like, there's no process for this. And then the team's like, see, they can't do it. And I'm like, can you do it? Like,
let's back the train up.
We have one person out of a team of 20 people that remembers how to get in the system and their password's still valid. Great.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's 80% of the time. Does it alleviate 80% of the pressure? Does it alleviate 80%? And does it work 80% of the time? And I think that once the team starts seeing that it's working and that things are coming off of their plate, they're like, oh, it's working.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then they start getting a little more excited. Then they're like, well, can we have them do this?
That's my.
Well, can I have them do that?
Is there a way? I know. When I was over there, I was like, I think I need my own personal VA that needs to be in like a black site.
Yeah.
I was like, just because I have like accounting information, I have HR information. So like I want them like in my email. Like I can set them to work up at a separate company and basically like that's my next move is to have my own black site personal data.
Yeah. Working with so many VAs, my dream is still to have my own like personal assistant VA, like for my to run my life, like book my travel, schedule vet appointments,
Philip, I love you.
text, yes, text my spouse sweet messages or selfies of myself. I don't like clone my phone.
Heartworm medication.
Right, yes. Have somebody come and pick up my dry cleaning, schedule the drop off, send them the codes, schedule my meals for the week, and have the groceries delivered. Just tell me what I'm making.
Yeah.
Like I would
to tell me what I'm making.
I'm like, just I will pay you just to be the one that I can call and be like, I'm having a rough day. Can you clear out my email? Can you delete my 100 junk messages today, please?
You have Chipotle waiting for me when I get
right.
in 30
I
minutes.
need Chipotle with extra queso today.
I need to book 7 flights because these flights are moving all around. Could you just book every flight to get me to Denver?
Right. I mean,
all of them. We'll cancel them. We'll pick which one when I get there.
But I've seen the value and how much it can alleviate stress and how much it frees up some of the mindless work that we do, that I think that it's super important that we try to get the team bought it. That we need to approach it with that open mind.
Then, like everyone's backlogged, I'll use the word complaining, everyone's making excuses, and you bring solutions and nobody wants them, then do they actually want the problem solved?
Right.
And like I get it. Everybody wants like, okay, this US licensed person that knows our system, knows our carriers, also knows all of our customers somehow, right? And has been doing the procedures that we do or do not have perfectly and is a good cultural fit, right? Like we all want the unicorn. But the reality is even somebody licensed that has similar experience, it's still 6 months to retrain them.
Mm-hmm.
It's still 6 months to retrain them. So get it going from day one.
And I think it also helps the team when we start implementing the processes to make the VA successful, because the team is like, oh, that's how you want it done. Oh, I
love having VAs audit US work because they're just very like non-emotional about it. Like, yeah, here's Steven's audit. He got a 13.
Yeah. Didn't follow the process. Yes or no. No feelings, just the fact.
Yeah. And they know that they're like, they always know that they work for you, right? Like they want to be like liked by the team, but they're also very like, they're very grateful for the opportunity. That's one of the things I really love about them.
So. Yeah. So I think if you're thinking about it, if you're worried about the team buy-in, on the last podcast, we talked about like a whiteboard session. Like set the team down and just say, hey, what's everything that if you had a magic wand, what could come off of you that you wouldn't miss tomorrow? Yeah,
I love that. I think
it's like rating. I hate quoting. Perfect. I hate this. Great. I don't like sending ID cards. Love it. Certificates. Okay, well, we still have to review them and sign them, but maybe prep. Look at all the things the team can come up with and then start focusing on the solution of bringing in a VA to take some of that off their plate. And start with a few smaller things to get the VA up to speed, make sure the processes are there. Yeah. And then make sure the team is actually giving them the work to do.
And let me ask you this, because I think this is a common one, and we'll end with this. I think a lot of people say, well, they're not licensed, right? Like, oh, well, they're not. Right. What are they really going to add? What are they really going to do? Because I think there's a little bit of a misbelief that everything that we do requires a license, right? So, like, VAs can quote and send you the quote to check. VAs can process. VAs can send out documentation. VAs can make late payment calls. VAs can late payment texts. Like whatever you're doing, you have to really challenge out, does it need a license or not? And I think we get so wrapped up of this needs a license. I'm like, does it? Does it?
I was working with another agency as well, where we just created like service boxes. So like general email accounts, because they were like, well, my client doesn't want an email from FOM about something. And I'm like, so send it from service at, and have them put your name at the bottom. I don't know what else to tell you. It's like super simple. They didn't pay their bill. If you want to ask them for a bill, to pay their bill, send a general email from a general email that says pay your bill.
Yep.
Like at the end of the day, create the process and then fix it to work for the culture of the agency.
I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect. So again, take a look. We have a whole free download of the questions you should ask your VA partner and talk to a couple of them, right? And get all the answers. The second thing is check out our how to hire a VA guide. I think this will be very like systematic of step one, step two, walk you through the different options. Like it's kind of this is like what I was saying to my husband the other night. And he's like, gosh, you need to write a guide about how to hire a VA. It's like, you've had them for 7 years. I go, right. But you've also, I said,
Mm.
you've owned crypto for 7 years. And I still don't understand that, despite how many times you've talked to me about what crypto is. We have a crypto miner now. And I'm like, I don't understand blockchain. But if I sat down and read like a guide start to finish, like the pieces would come together for me. Right. And so this is something you're sort of wrestling with. Check out our new process pack on it. I think you're going to
Yeah,
be really happy that you did to just get a good handle on it.
I love it.
Stephen, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
All right, I'll talk to you later.